Begin transmission.
This program is intended for mature audiences. Parental discretion is advised.
Hey everybody, it's good to see y'all. Let's see who all we got in the house. Get a little housekeeping out of the way. Hoping Largo's internet's going to clear up a little bit. He's having a little bit of trouble, but let's see who's here. Going up to the very top. Came in two folks. Shaitan's Hammer came in early. Hey. Bjorn Jorgensen, Shambolics, man. Going on down the line, Gojitron's here. He says, tour of Castle Grayskull, $25 for adults, 15 children, 12 and under, $17.50 for seniors. Photo with the sorceress is additional $30, limit 4 people per photo. Thank you for visiting Eternia. All right. Moving on down the line, Largo finally shows back up again. His internet hopefully is clearing up a little bit. Jesse Hughes is here. Good to see you, Jesse. I enjoyed your show. Yeah, I lurked a lot while I was working over here, just listening to you talking about gaming. Radical Toys is here. Hey, Adam, good to see you in the house, sir. Boba Hicks says the power of Grayskull compels him. Jesse says if photo ops or anything like today, he'll need to order them 4 months in advance. Shapen's Hammer says he has a dancing gizmo over in the corner of his room. Gap After Dark is here. Good to see you, Gap. Thank you for showing up. And finally, Chris is here. What's going on? Everything's Plastic Collectibles and Reviews and No Way Farms. Good afternoon. Farm work today, so only partially be paying attention, okay? And Gojitron says the real secret of Castle Grayskull, the Wi-Fi sucks. Yeah, well, I'm wired in and it still sucks. All right. So real quick, I want to shout out, like I always do, my Patreons. We appreciate all of you guys' support. Thank you so much. And let's bring Largo into the house here and see how he's doing.
Hey, guys.
Is it working, Largo?
For the moment. But ask me in 5 minutes and you might find me a grave man.
Grave. Well, first of all, before we get started today, next week's going to be an interesting week. I was talking to Largo about that. I've got some things I've got to do Sunday. So we're not going to have a Sunday hangout like normal. And I want to try to get some stuff together, some stuff done. So I'm going to probably drop some videos next week, and we're not going to do a Friday show, but we are doing the late night Saturday show, and it will be featuring who knows what evil lurks in the hearts of men.
Indeed.
And No Way wants to know how Eduardo is doing.
Eduardo is good today. He was perky this morning, hanging out, doing rooster stuff.
Yeah, and he was kind of quiet last night. I was kind of surprised.
Yeah, that is very unusual for him, but he made up for it today.
Yeah, he was tired, went to bed, woke up nice and fresh, and there he is right there. Hey, Eduardo. He pops up at all
Always
the
lurking.
times. Yeah, there we go. So even if Eduardo's not really there, we can he's here in spirit.
Indeed.
How's things going, Largo? Did you enjoy last night's show? It was kind of fun, I thought.
Yeah, it was very entertaining for me to do the research and check all that out. I'm looking forward to tackling Shadow this week. I mean, I know a cursory knowledge, but it'll be fun to do a deep dive.
Yeah. We're going to get together and try to get a little bit accomplished this week if we can toward the midweek. How's everybody else been doing over there in the chat? Y'all had a good week so far, and enjoying a lazy Sunday afternoon, knowing that new work week starts early in the morning for me, so I'm kind of wanting to enjoy my day. Gojatron here.
Savage. So savage.
Yeah. And we were talking about that a little last night. I mean, at some point or another, we may have to go back and revisit some of these characters that we're doing these spotlights on, do a little deeper dive on them, because there's so much that we're glossing over and skipping just to give you a good overview of these characters.
Right. Well, not just the characters, Bill, but the artists behind them. I mean, when you look at, like the writer for Doc Savage, who, most of the time remained under a nom de plume and didn't get a lot of credit during his career. You look at Edgar Rice Burroughs, you look at Ian Fleming, you look at some of these other guys. They are as interesting, or possibly even more interesting, than the fictional characters they write.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And Bjorn never has a lazy Sunday. Well, possibly because you have to work today. I don't know. I try to let my Sundays afternoons at least be as lazy as possible, because
between work, doing his customs, taking care of Grandpa Jorgensen, he's got a full plate.
He does, and I've been looking at some of his custom work over there on his new Instagram site, Majestic Customs. I believe it's got underscores at the beginning and the end, so make sure you put those in when you're trying to find him over there. And he's doing some excellent work. Love customizing. I do a lot of customizing, and that's kind of what today's show is going to be about. First of all, we're going to look at what I've done new here in the Custom Castle Grayskull. I've added a couple of new items in here. I'm kind of curious to see if anybody will be able to find them in here. Trying to straighten out something that got kind of crooked in here. I set this up early this morning while I was listening to Jesse's live stream. By the way, speaking of live streams, Brick Something had an excellent news live stream this morning.
He did.
Well worth back and watching that again if you haven't seen it.
Just a quick plug to remind you all, we will be naming this Merc tomorrow on the AF3 with Will in the evening. So if you haven't put your vote in for a name for this Merc, go ahead and put it in the comment section from last week's show.
And Shayton's Hammer says he got a hold of Edgar Rice Burroughs' Princess of Mars and read it in a single sitting. That's the nice thing about the Burroughs books. They're not overly long. Now, some of the other writers who have tried to take up his mantle and do pastiches of his work have gone overboard with some of the things that they did. But Burroughs had a pretty simple formula that worked really, really well. And what's Bjorn saying here? Oh yeah, there's his Instagram, folks.
Majestic Customs.
Epic's giving you some ideas here. All right. So.
Well, we are putting it to a vote, sir. But Clever Girl is probably in the running.
All right. Let's go ahead and pull up the toy cam here and see if we can see some of the things that have been done here. I was working right up until time for showtime on setting everything up in here, and I got started yesterday on trying to figure out a way of attaching those wonderful shields that you can see down there on the floor back there next to the entranceway to the castle. I call those powerful shields. Where do those shields come from? I've got a picture here. Let's see where I put it. I thought I put it in here.
Well, if nothing else, a little
Here
bit
it
of
is.
sticky tack might work to put those up.
Yeah. Yeah. Right now, can't see me too well in the small picture there, but I've got a roll of this stuff right here that I'm using mainly as a proof of concept right now to try to
So,
get it to stay there. But
right,
got
little
some wooden
double stick
dowels
tape.
and yeah, pretty much. It's the kind that's it's made for hanging posters. It's kind of squishy on the back.
Oh, okay.
Anyway, I got these wooden dowels, and then I took some some wooden block and cut it to size, and I actually drilled holes in the dowel and the block so I could put a piece of toothpick through there, and then wood glue to glue them together. So that's pretty sturdy, but trying to get it to stick to the wall of the castle without damaging the wall of the castle is probably going to be a chore. But as you can see here from King of Castle Grayskull, this picture here of Skeletor's first entrance to the castle. On the castle wall there, beside the entranceway, you can see those two powerful shields that were on the wall. And we always wondered, what are those shields about and why were they there? Well, the answer has never been given to us. But there was a fellow over on Shapeways who actually made a 3D print for the shields, and there's some stickers that can be had if you know where to look. I think I've got a download on my blog if you look for powerful shields or Castle Grayskull on the search option on Weird Fantastic Toy Adventures at blogspot.com. You might be able to find that file and download the stickers. But we'll look a little closer at each one of these shields. This is the first one. I went ahead and painted the outside. I started with a chrome color. I came across that with a black wash, and then I put a little bit of rust in there because it's been hanging on the wall for a long time. Now, I haven't painted the back. I've left the back unpainted. But it has a... Oh, I dropped it. Here. It has a little clip here on the side that you can clip it on the arm of a character so they can actually hold the shield in their hand if they need to. But that works real well with the wooden dowel. So we'll see if we can get the first one in there. I'll kind of zoom up here so you can kind of see me work.
Yeah, the heraldry on those actually looks possibly French or Norman. I bet we could probably look up those symbols and see what they represent in the real world.
That would be kind of neat. Okay, so I got the first one hanging up there, and of course, from this angle, you can see the back holding it on, but I think that's okay for now. And then this one here is the one that doesn't like to stay up there, but I've let it set for a little while, and maybe it's got a little hole to it. And let's see if we can get that shield to go right on there. So there we have the entranceway shields there in the door. Let's see what you guys think. Yeah, that is a pretty cool Skeletor pose. I've actually got a picture of Skeletor coming in the castle. I may come back at some later date and paint the little holders for the shields there on the wall so that it kind of matches the background, so it kind of blends a little better. But for right now, that kind of works well. Another thing that I purchased recently from the same fellow over on Shapeways, he's called DJ Weapons Forge on Shapeways. Back here in the back, there is a computer console that was featured in the mini comics that Alcala drew as being in the throne room. And I always wanted to have that in my castle because I kind of really need.
I think that might be King Randor's
I went
karaoke
ahead and
machine for the weekends. But it does look good painted up. I know that's supposed to be at the throne, but I can't help but think that's always Zodak's chair. He should be zooming around on like Metron.
Yeah, that chair was actually they used it in DC Comics as Zodak's chair on his cosmic throne or whatever that he was riding in that looks like Metron. The original castle as designed had an actual throne that looked more like a throne instead of a dentist chair in it, but it kind of got designed like this for a couple of different reasons. There's a reason why there's a slot here. Do you know why there's a slot there in the chair?
I would guess that chair was part of a different set, maybe from Big Jim or one of the other Mattel lines previously.
I've spun out there, Largo. All right.
You did.
That's the reason right there. When you close the castle up, that has to go somewhere, so it goes right up in here.
Interesting.
And one of the other things that I picked up here recently, I finally found one of these. There's always been a treasure box sitting beside the throne in Alcala's drawings. And so now the Deep Sea Diver Fisher Price Adventure People treasure box. And it's got treasure in the bottom. And I may paint that someday as well. Cool. And now it has a place to sit right here beside the throne. And of course, a lot of you guys know that I recently picked this up from another Etsy seller who does a lot of 3D printing. It's a weapons rack for He-Man's sword, axe, and shield. And back here in the background, you can see some of the custom work that I've done. I painted all of the weapons on the weapons rack. Gave them a little bit of rust on the blades and everything, and painted that weapons rack so that it just looks real, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And
now, did you paint that ladder as well, or did it come that color?
No, I had to paint this ladder. This ladder came a kind of a light gray color, and I kind of wanted to make sure that the rungs and the rails were brown, and I wanted the little ties to look like ropes, so I kind of gave them a little tan color to them. Give that ladder a little bit of character. And we got the combat trainer that a lot of people never understood, but the character was supposed to hit the boar's head and try to avoid this. It's supposed to be a fist, but it doesn't look much like a fist on the model here. But as it swung around, the character was supposed to jump back to avoid that, and that was supposed to simulate combat coming in and attacking, and then avoiding the return blow from the other character.
Now, did they include that in the updated Origins version of the castle, or do you know?
They did, and it looked more like what was originally designed. The boar's head wasn't flat like this; it was actually a fully formed head, and the so-called fist back here on the back looked more like a fist. And they actually made a little place in the top of it so that you could actually stick a weapon in it.
Oh,
nice. And Ian Sweeney in the house. Hey, Ian, she says, after several false starts, my Origins Castle Grayskull arrived today for the heavily reduced price of £52.99, down from £85. Yay me. Very good. Very,
Always
very
good to
good.
get a deal.
And looking up here at the top, we'll start over here in the computer room. Originally, this was a cardboard cutout in the original castle, and I did not do this to my actual Origins Castle Grayskull. Never fear, folks. But I got some extra just pieces so that I could add these into my castle, and I had to modify it a little bit so that it would fit in there. But there's your computer and monitor screen that goes in the computer room there in the castle at the landing of the elevator there. And then from the Mysteries of Grayskull set, I got our robot / explorer spacesuit. Tell me in the comments after the stream is over with down there at the bottom what you thought it was when you were growing up. Did you think that was a robot, or did you think it was a spacesuit, or just what did you make out of that?
I just thought it was put together by somebody who was colorblind, because those colors are funky together.
They are, but believe it or not, they're a little bright. But the original picture that was on the cardboard cutout kind of had some color schemes very, very much reminiscent of this, so it's not too awful out of place. But he has a couple of extra things here that wasn't with the Mysteries of Grayskull figure. I've added the weapon that you can see on the cardboard cutout here on the side, the heavy blaster. And I don't know if you can see it back here in the back. I might have to move this blaster out of the way. He's got a knife right here, like he did in the picture. So makes him look a little more like the picture on the cutout.
Mm-hmm.
Blaster back there. And then, of course, the console back here is from Origins Grayskull. Once again, I got that as an extra piece so that my Origins Grayskull is intact. And behind the throne there, you can see the tapestry with the dragon on it, the green tapestry. In the original castle, that was just a sticker. But in my castle, it's actually a piece of ribbon with the sticker applied to it. And I took a piece of small dowel with a couple of beads to make something to hold it on, and put a couple of eye rings up there at the top with the screws on them, screwing into this piece here so that it holds it up back there in the back. And my upper floors for the turrets are special as well. They're 3D printed replacements. I have the actual ones here, but the 3D printed replacements are kind of neat. The one over here on the defense tower has a let's see if you can see that. It has a little trap door that you can pull out, and this ledge here is extended so that a character can actually stand on it, unlike the original, which was cut off right here, so that it was kind of hard to balance a figure up there. And then I have one over here. Now there's a notch cut here because the customizer made a little one rung ladder, kind of like what was in the prototype, so that it could hang there. But I don't hang it there because it interferes with the spacesuit here. So, and the 3D printed floors up there for the two towers, the defense tower and the vigilance tower, are both have a wood grain surface on them, so that it kind of looks like wooden floors instead of stone floors. And looking at the chat real quick, Shaitan's Hammer said the Grayskull blaster was one of his favorite accessories. It literally does look nice. And if you look over here at the weapons rack, you can see that the version that's on my weapons rack, I actually painted that up. So it really looks nice when you get it painted up.
Mm-hmm.
And then everybody knows that there was a secondary weapons rack that was just a cardboard cutout. I've actually tried to make an actual version of that. And the blaster was kind of a blue color in that. So the other blaster I have here, I kind of painted it like that to try to match that. And I made a Morning Star and took a He-Man axe and a He-Man shield and a couple of pistols from Star Wars to put on here.
Yeah, it looks good.
And of course, the whole rack itself is just wooden dowels and pieces of popsicle stick and string. And I actually used my Boy Scouting skills to make these lashings on here. So it actually was lashed together. So it makes a nice little addition. So that everything now in my castle that was cardboard cutouts are now pretty well 3D. Yeah, and Bo Hicks says that weapons rack looks awesome. Thank you. And Ian Sweeney says the blaster always made him think of Flash Gordon. And a 1-to-1 scale blaster would be great. Shathan's hammer, pretty cool. And one other thing we want to look at up here, let's look at the flagpole that I made. I actually have the original version of this put away, but I kind of like the idea of being able to move this around and having a small stand at the bottom to put the pole in. So
makes it easier for playing capture the flag.
Yes, and I took a piece of wooden stick there and painted it brass. Got me some beads up here at the top to make the topper, and 3D not 3D printed, but printed out replacement stickers and put them on a piece of card so that it looks like it's waving. And of course, we have the good side, which was the side that was shown when the good characters had control of the castle, and of course the evil side, which the evil characters would show when they had control of the castle. And up here at the top is my new Spirit of Grayskull with the stand that was made for it. It's got a Maltese cross stand, kind of like He-Man symbol that's on the front of his chest armor. And there's actually a slot. See if you can see that slot and there's a corresponding slot here inside there that it fits into, so that when you fit them together, it kind of stays in place. And a little bit of magician's wax in there to stabilize it a little bit. And we got a Spirit of Grayskull that we can have floating above the Vigilance Tower, also known as the Watchtower. And I do have another Spirit of Grayskull that I was using originally, and I have it over here, and I interchange them out occasionally. And I'll show him off real quick. Here he is. Both of these 3D prints are based upon pictures that were actually in the storybooks. So
looks better than the one Mattel put out. That one just kind of a gooey blob.
Yeah, it was, and I guess it was supposed to look more like smoke, but I think these do a much better job. And of course, an enterprising person might take a little bit of very, very light blue paint and go back across some of these and make them look a little more 3D. See, the swords and the flag look more awesome than the actual power sword. They do. And if I'm not mistaken, at some point or another, I think possibly in the classics line, they actually made those swords and then put them into a pack. And if they didn't, I'm sure there's a 3D printer out there that has the morning star beats the evening moon every time, says Boba Hicks.
Yep.
Ian Sweeney says, I'm planning to print off a scale image of the spacesuit and attach it to either cardboard or a piece of wood. Mysteries of Grayskull way out of his price range. Yeah, Yeah, it was a pretty hefty price if you didn't get it when it actually came out. And if I remember correctly, uh, when it was first available, I think it was PowerCon. The secondary here to the United States were ridiculous $900 for that $35 set, right?
Mm.
And
Now, as far as the lore of Castle Grayskull, is there a lot of detail about the interior of the castle that's in the comics that came after, or where's the best place to find information about the secrets of the castle?
I think I have returned, sort of, kind of, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Can you hear me there, Largo? All right.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. After they re-released it again over on the Mattel Creation site, the prices went way down on the secondary market on those, and I got mine for still too much. About $90 is what I paid for mine, which I guess for the way the set was originally about $40. That's about right for the markup on it, I guess.
Mm.
Jaden's Hammer says he's going to use a Horde Trooper for his space suit. A castle goal. At least put you on the screen so they can see something when I spin out.
All right, Bill.
Let's see. Boba Hicks says it's all political prisoners in the Grayskull dungeon. Yeah, and there's a frogmonger down there in that Grayskull dungeon we found out too, right?
Yes, a rather deplorable fella.
Epic Badger. I like the idea of Grayskull poorly defined allows more room for interpretation and imagination. Yeah, yeah.
That's
Everybody,
true.
yeah, everybody's Grayskull, in my opinion, should be a work of art, something unique for them. So yeah. Thank you, Gilster. I appreciate that, man. I haven't seen you in a while. I hope you're doing okay, man. I also teased that we might bring out the Snake Mountain here in a little bit. We'll leave the Grayskull on display for a little while. Maybe even show the front of it. I know you guys know that if you look behind the flag up there at the top, I've got the minaret on the top of the castle that I made out of clay. It was the baking clay. So
Shake and bake.
You know, yeah. Frogmonger was actually depicted as a hero. Well, sort of a hero. He helped He-Man reluctantly. Thank you, Bjorn. 100% majestic, but not majestic in any tiger sort of way.
Well, Cringer's a tiger, so I mean, 6 degrees of separation.
There you go. There you go.
So, where do you find the names of all these different towers and parts of the castle? Are they in the mini comics, or are they in the DC comics that came after? Or
Well, the reason I called the Vigilance Tower, there was a fellow who had a blog on Blogspot, and English was his secondary language. And if you read the Power of Point Dread mini comic, well, actually, it was the record and storybook set that came with Point Dread and Talon Fighter. At one point in there, Skeletor tells Triclops to use his gamma vision to look around the corner and tell him where He-Man and Man-at-Arms are. And Triclops says He-Man and Man-at-Arms are in the Watchtower. So, looking at the two towers, you'll see that the one tower has a weapon on it and the other one is kind of high. So, we assume that the high tower would be the Watchtower. Well, the fellow with the blog called it Vigilance Tower, which means the same thing, but it's just another word for it. And it just sounds kind of neat. So I picked up calling the Watchtower the Vigilance Tower. As far as the defense tower is, the reason I call it the defense tower is because it has a weapon on it, so it's the defense tower.
Right. Yeah, the castle as it's depicted is kind of interesting. I mean, being the main playset for the Motu line, in the comics, you realize that the castle itself is a point of contention between good and evil, and it's kind of interesting. I mean, it has, depending on which version of the lore you go with, it isn't exactly in this space and time. It's kind of there, but it's kind of not. It appears to certain people, and others it's invisible. That kind of stuff. It's kind of interesting.
Well, one of the other things, the modern depiction of the castle seems to be it's the place of good. It's where the sorceress lives, and it's to be protected from the forces of evil because this is the home of the good characters. That's not the way it was originally depicted. It was originally depicted as a repository of technology and magic that was too powerful really for any one person or one group to have, and it was there to protect that knowledge and power from everybody. So it was a fortress of mystery and power for both heroic and evil warriors. It was a place that they were both fighting to have.
Right. Well, it kind of makes sense why it would also be the prison for the most powerful and despicable critters that need a place to be put where they can't cause mischief.
Yeah, correct, and it's kind of interesting the way the castle has been depicted in later sources. Uh, Originally, to gain entry into the castle after the sorceress had put the magical lock on the drawbridge, it took the two halves of the power sword joined together in order to get the drawbridge to open, and that was kind of what was going on. Now, He-Man wasn't necessarily looking to have the power sword in his possession, and Skeletor was, because Skeletor wanted to gain control of the castle, and He-Man just basically wanted to protect the castle from that.
Right. I remember in the team up he did with Superman, He-Man did not have the power sword.
Yes, and that's correct. Now, later depictions they always show He-Man having one half, Skeletor having the other, to match the toy versions, which each came with one half of the power sword. And then later that idea was totally scrapped for the Filmation cartoons, where He-Man used the power sword to gain his power as He-Man.
Mm-hmm.
And Gilster says, don't have or ever own the Castle Grayskull. Looking to change that soon. Is $40 not a completely good deal? $40 an absolutely good deal. You've done well, sir.
Yeah.
And yeah, the Origins Grayskull is a pretty good version of the castle to have. I don't have but a few little nitpicks with it. One of which is that it the front, and there's different people who have different ideas on this, but Mark Taylor's original design for Grayskull, and one of the reasons why he sculpted it himself was because everybody who did try to sculpt his castle wanted to make it symmetrical, and he said it is not symmetrical. It is more organic than symmetrical. So the original toy version that I have here, vintage, is not symmetrical. It's very organic looking on the front, whereas the new Origins version has that symmetrical design on the front. Lightyear Star Command playset actually follows the Grayskull play scheme. That's interesting. I'll have to look into that. Weapons racks and everything. Yeah. Hey, Black Knight, good to see you, man. Did you have a good sleep last night? So that kind of concludes our little tour of Grayskull. I'm going to close her up, and we'll see if we hear the shields clattering to the ground over there that are on the wall. I might go ahead and take them off of their little posts, so that those posts get more of a chance for that adhesive to take root there, if you will. So I'll take each one of these shields loose from their posts, and then they feel a lot more sturdy now that I've given them a chance to just sit up there, so they're not wobbling around nearly as much.
Yep. The only thing you want wobbling in the toy room are the Weebles.
And Weebles wobble, but they don't fall down.
That's right.
And one of the things I didn't show, because I have them over here, is some plastic bags full of accessories that I put out of the way just to keep them out of the way. I'll show them off real quick as I'm starting to put this away. In this bag, I have a couple of torches, an extra sword, and a set of keys. And I'm going to put the shields in this little bag here, along with that. So they just kind of fit right down in that little bag there, like that. Giving them a little place to live when the castle's closed up.
Yeah, and that's a nice setup. So do you display the castle closed and then have your figures around it, or how do you display it?
I normally display it closed because it just takes up too much space here on the toy table. But I do like to open it up so you can see all the wonders on the inside. I've worked so hard on it. In this baggie here, I have the evil tapestry and that ladder I was telling you about that fits in that slot up there on the Tower of Vigilance. I'll set that back off to the side, and I have another little baggie. This actually is what this came in from Shapeways, but pull out this little computer console that's back here in the back and put it in its little baggie. I had to paint this. It came of course unfinished, unpainted, and I had to give it a little paint job, but it goes right in this little baggie here. Nice little.
How hard is it to match that Grayskull green or kind of blue green?
Kind of interesting. You kind of just got to start mixing colors together out of what you have. And Melvor's like me; he prefers the original sculpt to the new one, although the new one looks good. Black Knight says could have been a little better, but good nonetheless. Gilster's looking for an original for nostalgic reasons, and I can understand that. And I'm gonna start loading things up in places that I know that will allow the castle to close properly. So we'll start with the ladder, which I like to put up here on the top floor, and stack some of the stuff up here inside the castle that's in the little baggies. Let's see, I like to put the weapons trainer in this corner here. And
don't put everything away, Bill, because World Made of Cardboard just showed up. He wants you to start from the beginning and show everything again.
Oh, sounds to me like you may have to hit the replay there, brother. We're going to bring out Snake Mountain here in a minute and look at what I have in store for it and what I've already gotten. So we'll put the weapons rack over here, kind of in the armory, which is right here behind the elevator. And so add this weapon.
Gilster says he picked up an extra chair and made one for Zodak in silver. I was kind of hoping the Masterverse Zodak would come with a chair, but alas, they've kind of gotten away from that. He's not in the chair anymore.
There's a fellow with an eBay store that's from Argentina that's 3D printing a Zodak throne. And nice. He actually paints his stuff up before he sends them, so you don't have to do all that work that you do on most of these 3D print stuff that you buy from customizers. And
Boba Hicks is curious: does the castle have central heating? How do they keep that thing warm in the winter? Because I don't see a fireplace.
Nah, I think you get cold, brother.
Maybe they use magic.
No, the Dwell of Souls may go directly down into the heart of Eternia, so there may be a little bit of heat coming up through that.
That's it.
All right, so I've got everything in place here, and we're going to close the castle up. I almost messed up. the castle won't close till I remove these items here.
Right, because it wasn't originally designed to take those when it closed.
That's correct. So they'll just have to sit here on the elevator. Now, these closed.
Well, according to Mr. Home Arcade, Orko takes care of the temperature in the castle. At least that's the word on the street. It probably is kind of warm in Eternia because everybody does seem to be running around half naked.
Yeah, they do. They do. And Mr. Home Arcade, as I said before, y'all need to go check him out. He's got a figure Hustler who owns the Eternian used car dealership, where everybody goes to get used Wind Raiders and Rotons and get a good deal. But you better pay your bill, because if you don't, you got Triclops and Merman on the repo team that might come and get your stuff back from you.
That's right. Hustler gonna get his money.
So I'm gonna
Well, definitely like the paint job, Bill. It looks really nice. Brings out all those details.
Thank you. Yeah, and a lot of people don't realize just how much detail that there was in the original set that you can't see because of the way they were painted. But once you get a good dry brush on it, you can see all that detail.
Mm-hmm. It is iconic, that's for sure.
And it's kind of the same thing with Snake Mountain here. One of these days, I think I might get around to actually giving it a paint job kind of similar to the castle there to bring out some of the details that are in here that kind of get lost, such as we'll bring it around here to where the other side is. There's faces in here that are kind of hard to see, but if you were to go across some of these with a little bit of dry brush, you might be able to see some of the detail on those faces that are kind of hidden.
They say faces come out in the rain when you're strange.
All right, I'm going to open this sucker up. We're kind of aware of what's on the outside here because that's the way it's normally displayed, but we'll take a look at how sparse the inside is.
Yeah, that is something they seem to be trying to remedy with the new version that hopefully will be coming out in the near future.
And first of all, we get a chance to see the custom 3D printed blood falls that I have to go on the front, and get a chance to see what it actually looks like, because all you've ever seen is it on display. So that's the back side, and here's the front side, and it just kind of goes in there where the hinge is. I'll put it off here to the side.
Kind of makes me hungry for some fruit roll-ups.
And you can see how I store things in here. We have a ladder as well that came with Snake Mountain. And this ladder was basically the same ladder as the one that was included in Castle Grayskull. It was just printed in a darker gray.
Mm-hmm.
And we have the rickety old bridge here. And I just leave these in there because taking them in and out, that's what causes them to break. So
right,
I just kind of put them together like that and just store them inside when I have the Snake Mountain closed up. And over here is the mechanism for the speaker. I don't have a battery in there. That keeps it from corroding. We have the capture net. And a lot of people don't realize, but back here in the very back is a hook to hook the back part of that net onto, so that it helps to keep the net kind of like this to capture the person when they come through the front of the front door here, which is of course the infamous door to nowhere.
Right.
And
Yeah,
all
you
of
think you think they'd be able to afford a set of stairs?
yeah, the only thing, it seems like the only thing that this exists for is to have a trap to trap someone who goes up there. So how many times would that work before the characters realize, hey, going through that door just leads to a trap?
Yeah, I think they get wise after once.
And I think retro blasting mentioned also, I mean, why even bother going through the climbing up the little steps and going across the rickety bridge and fighting your way up to the gateway at the top that leads to nothing but a trap, when you could just come in through the cave entrance down here at the bottom.
That's true, but sometimes that cave's got a critter in it.
That's true. And here he is.
Indeed.
Nice little critter hanging out down there in the bottom, in the pool of slime. And they're the same guy from Argentina does the slime pit that goes down there with some tentacles coming out that looks pretty much like the one that came with the classics Snake Mountain that's been resized to fit in this one. If only I knew someone with a 3D printer who had the STL file that would print that off for me. You know,
Indeed.
you know, maybe there's somebody out there. Now over here, and I'm going to dig around for it because I think I've got it right here within reach. Should be anyway. I've got a few extra items that I purchased a long time ago in anticipation of one day having a Snake Mountain for them to go in. And the first item is one of the most important items to have if you live in Snake Mountain. And that's a bone throne to sit in.
Indeed.
It actually has faux fur on the front. It's made out of, it feels like it was sculpted. It's very heavy. So that's not
Looks
plastic.
like right. It might be a resin. It's nice.
Very, very, very heavy. Very heavy. And the second item that I have here, can't have a throne without table. And here's the conference table that goes in Snake Mountain. So
only Skeletor gets a chair. Everybody else has to stand.
Well, I think in the cartoon they had little stools that went around here, and I thought about that. Going and buying the children's block sets that has the little cylinders blocks, and getting maybe four of those, and then putting them around that and painting them that gray color and giving them a little black wash across them to make them look like stone. Does the chair come with an ottoman? No, but you could bake one. They got a throne coming with the Origins one coming out later this year. They do. And it's actually seated up here on the upper level. So they've extended that out so that there's actually a platform up there for it to sit on. And I'm thinking that it's attached up there kind of like the Grayskull throne. And it may even swivel to cause a trapdoor to fall, because you've got the jail cell that can either sit here or be moved over here, so that there's something here instead of just a doorway to nowhere. But yeah, I figured that if I was going to have a Snake Mountain, I at least had some stuff to go in it. So when Skeletor's hanging out in there, at least he has a chair to sit on. Speaking of a Skelly, I've got him right here. Let's get him in his chair and see how he looks sitting in his chair there in Snake Mountain.
Oh yeah, that's a good size.
There he goes. pretty cool back there sitting in his chair. And
Yeah, needs a place to rest his tired bones.
yeah, we need a couple of minions for him to abuse. Well, there we go. Yeah, have Skeletor talking to his minions there, and just abusing them. Merman, you insufferable fool! There we go. Kind of nice. Gives my Snake Mountain a little more charm than just the emptiness of the way it comes, huh?
Yeah, definitely makes it more homey, more lived in for a evil lair.
Absolutely. So I'm sure everybody wants to get the Origins version of Snake Mountain. I think the Origins version of Snake Mountain is going to be significantly bigger than this to accommodate all the extras that they've added into it. So uh, hopefully those will become available towards the summertime. I don't know when it's actually going to come out or how it's
Right.
come out. We know it's not going to be at Walmart or Target, so I
Well,
don't
they've
know.
certainly made a lot of additions, but they're also making one major subtraction from the original. That would be the microphone in the
Yeah,
wolf's head.
yeah, and I can understand that. That saves them a little bit of money, and in today's technology, something as simple as that could be replicated with voice changing software.
Yeah. I'm not sure how much of a play feature that was.
I don't know either. I mean, I kind of think it's neat to sit there and talk through the microphone and move the little lever to make the face on the front of the mountain's mouth move. But yeah, my God, what's that ungodly odor? Stinkor, get out! Uh, if you haven't seen the Stinkor episode
Hmm.
from Mr. Home Arcade, is that one was kind of hilarious. But yeah, there we go. So that's pretty much Snake Mountain and Castle Grayskull that I've got going on so far. Like I said, Snake Mountain's kind of a work in progress for me. I've kind of collected things to have for it, and now I need to start actually doing a little work with the shell there to make it look kind of nice, so it goes with Grayskull a little more.
Yeah. Looks like Eduardo's got some competition.
I see
The world
that.
made a cardboard's house. He's got roosters next door as well. I tell you,
Mm.
with the price of eggs, everybody's going to have to get into getting a rooster and some hens and let them make some sweet, sweet loving so they can get some eggs.
Yeah, 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 absolutely. Well, guys, that's kind of what I had. I just wanted to play with toys today. I didn't have a whole lot planned. I just wanted to get my toys out and just mess around with them and play with them a little bit and let you guys kind of come along for the ride. Uh, been at it for about an hour. If you guys have any questions, anything you want to talk about, just sound off there in the chat, and we'll try to cover it real quick. Uh, Once again, I kind of want to let everybody know that next weekend we're only having a Saturday show, so mark it down in your calendars. We'll have the Saturday late night show featuring Spotlight on Shadow.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to do a Friday open mic. We'll return to that a week after maybe, and
Right.
Sunday Hangout. I'm not going to be here for, so I won't even be here to be able to run that. So I've got real life things that have come up.
Indeed. And for you Action Force enthusiasts, Will and I will be on tomorrow night after the Grindhead toy grind. And shout out to Bjorn. I just picked up my package yesterday, and I got the superpowers you sent me. So they arrived in good shape. Thank you, sir.
Very cool. That is very, very cool. There we go. And Boba Hicks likes that bone throne. And I
That's
like that
nice.
bone throne too. Yeah, I like the one that I picked up. I picked it up from a customizer. I can tell you who it was. He was on eBay offering these two items, and I snapped them up while I could because that's the way it works with customizers. Because if you don't get what they have to offer when the offering's there, you never know, it may be gone the next day.
Right. When they're
Speaking of
making
whom,
one of a kind, or they can't be mass producing things like that. So always cool to see what's out there in the third party world or Etsy or what guys are making. But I
yeah,
think I'm about done with Motu
and
myself. I've got the core characters in the Masterverse style, and I might pick up a couple more of the henchmen if they come up with something cool. But my shelf's full, and
yeah,
I think that's all
yeah.
I really want.
I never did get into Hordak and the Evil Horde, and I never did get into the Snake Men back in the day, and I never did when here lately. So I skipped out on the Horde. It just seemed to me like that it was going to be too hard to collect all of that and not have enough room for everything I really wanted. So, or enough money to get everything I really wanted and get them too. So I skipped the Horde, and I never was a fan of the Snake Men to begin with. So I'm kind of at the point where I'm just going to develop what I have.
Yep. Yeah, when it comes to Snake Man, I've kind of got my eye on what Savage Crucible's doing. They're going to be putting out all kinds of lizard men and some fish men and some other fantasy stuff coming out pretty soon. Their Kickstarters are already going pretty good. I think they've already funded for the
Are you
first
going to be?
three
Are you?
waves.
Yeah. Are you going to be getting those two Minotaurs? Talk about those that we saw earlier today on was it
Yeah, that's another third party X-Ray, Ezray. I'm not exactly sure how they say their name, but they've been doing like pit fighters and gladiators, and male and female both look really good. Now they're putting out some really chunky boy minotaurs that look like they'll be a good 9 to 10 inches tall. They're really big, and they'll fit right in with all this fantasy stuff, including Motu, if you really wanted to use them.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and those are some chunky looking figures too. And if you're into such things, that's something to be on the lookout for sure. And they may just fit in with what you already have in a lot of different toy lines.
That is a smart thing. A lot of these third party groups are doing is they're creating companion figures. And they're not creating a whole line of toys, but they're creating monster figures that'll fit with your existing lines, and I think it's smart.
Mm-hmm. And if you haven't watched Brick Something show news show that he put on this morning, he kind of spotlighted these things on his show. So it's worth
Yeah,
a rewatch or watching the restream there just to see that stuff that he spotlighted. So that was a good thing. Yeah.
yeah. His new show has definitely become a must watch because he definitely lets us know what's going on out there in the world of third party and other interesting stuff that's available.
Speaking of the Red Sonja, tell me there, Largo, is there a Red
Mhm.
Sonja figure out there?
There are two. There's one that's already available now that uses like a silicone body over a metal endoskeleton, and it's not bad, but it's a little underscaled.
Mm-hmm.
There is a new one coming out that is on pre-order. They're coming out with Vampirella and Red Sonja. It's the same company that made the Hell Witch and a few other characters. The Lady Death. Trying to remember, Executive Replicas, I believe, is the name of the company. And
Mm-hmm.
looking at the sculpts they've done previously, Red Sonja is going to be awesome from them and will scale well with the Mezco Conan or the Subpar 7 if you got that one.
Mm-hmm. And now I seem to recollect a little while back that Vampirella figure was made that was anatomically correct. Are these new figures
Mm-hmm.
going to be anatomically correct?
Within reason, yes. Just like with the Red Sonja, the Executive Replicas version that came out originally used a silicone body, and yes, it had some anatomically correct portions underneath their costumes. However, the new ones are going to be more of a plastic action body, but I'm sure they'll be sculpted very well.
Well, speaking of the Sonya there, she wears that wonderful chainmail bikini that serves absolutely no purpose other than to look good. How do you think that the figure is gonna be done, in plastic or actual chainmail?
I would assume plastic from what I've seen from the pictures of the prototype, but it'll be painted in such a way that it'll look really nice. And the armor, I believe, has some mystical background to it that goes along with her vow not to be bested by a man that isn't her equal or better. So
Right.
you have to
And
read her
of
lore.
course, is this version of Sonya going to be based upon the Roy Thomas stuff that he did for Marvel?
It looks similar as far as the sculpt, and the look of it is very similar to Roy Thomas's art. Mm-hmm.
And Bjorn tells us about Mezco announcing their new Shadow figure, and that looks really awesome. And I'm thinking if they're going to do a Shadow figure, they might as well do his Street and Smith friend Doc Savage as well at some point.
One could hope. If I was going to speculate, I would guess they're doing Dick Tracy, they're doing Shadow. We might see a Phantom figure from them, or maybe even a Flash Gordon before we'd see a Doc Savage, because although he is a great character, he's not. I don't think there's a big market for a Doc Savage figure, but be easy to make a custom.
Yeah, talking about Dick Tracy, I think the last figure line that we ever saw for Dick Tracy was from that god awful Warren Beatty movie that came out several years ago. That toy line never went anywhere because the movie sucked, and when the movie sucks, the toy line always fails.
They are expensive on the secondary market. Some of the characters, like the hard to find Breathless Mahoney / Blank, yeah. But Playmates did an okay job on those because they didn't really base them so much on the movie as they did the classic comic strip, at least as far as the likenesses. But yeah, what Mezco's doing looks really good because they're kind of splitting the difference between a realistic style and the style from the comics.
Okay, I'll have to look into that because I was wondering whether it was going to be strip accurate or movie accurate or somewhere in between. So it sounds like it's somewhere in between. Yeah,
the sculpts they've shown look really nice, and they've even done a couple of the villains to go with him that they've teased. So that'll be interesting. I think the next pre-order I have with Mezco is the Amazing Spider-Man that's based on the Steve Ditko style with his classic colors. Mm-hmm. But I don't go all in on all Mezco. It's too expensive, and the wait time is just crazy on some of it. I'm still waiting on a Mr. Freeze from over 2 years ago.
Oh, really? Yeah. It's kind of hard when you have to wait that long for something, huh?
Well, it's frustrating because they have an in-house brand that they seem to be able to pop out with no problem, but the licensed stuff they take their sweet time on. So there's something going on there that's not kosher.
Right. Well, I've kind of got to the end of today's show, folks. I just want to thank everybody for being here. I want to thank Largo. Of course, again, we apologize. We always have internet difficulties, and we work through those as best we can. Black Knight said he's got that same Spider-Man on pre-order that you were talking about.
It looks good.
Yeah. But anyway, I want to thank everybody for being here, and just have a good day, folks, and I hope you have a good week next week, and good journey, everybody, and we'll see y'all next time.
See ya.
Special thanks to these supporters on Patreon. Without your help, these adventures would not be possible. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed today's adventure, please hit like and subscribe and share the video.